Hi, I'm Ashley. Welcome back to my channel, Autoimmune Warriors. And today I am filming from my home. We are getting really cold weather again and I don't want to go outside. So this is how I'm coping. I'm staying inside where it's warm. I do have my family around me. You may hear my daughter who is literally right there. And I have dogs and they may bark. That's life. So here on my channel, we talk about autoimmune diseases, how to live with them, cope with them, and really anything about them. Today specifically, we are going to be talking about my top 10 ways to cope with an autoimmune disease. We all know that we have bad days and good days and terrible days. It's how we get through those days that matters. So I'm going to talk about 10 ways that I cope with pain, depression, and flares. Now, these are ways that I specifically cope. I hope that you find at least one new way to cope with something. And if you are coping with something that isn't on this list, then please put it in the comments down below so that everybody can benefit from your information. Number one is I like to read. And I talked about this in a previous video that because of what I've gone through, my arms and my wrists get really tired. So I actually don't have the dexterity most times to sit and hold a book. I also don't really have the time anymore. So I listen to audiobooks and specifically through Audible. Not sponsored, but I pay my subscription to Audible. It's like $14.95 a month. That gets me 1 credit. And that 1 credit equals 1 book. And I can read about a book a month. I listen when I'm in the shower. I listen when I'm doing my daily chores. I listen when it's quiet. And I listen when I'm trying to cope with pain or discomfort in any way. It helps to take my mind off of the uncomfortable feelings that I have. For me, there's nothing better than being in pain, which isn't fun, being depressed, which also isn't fun, but also being able to dive into a good book and just lose myself in that world. It helps distract me from the pain and depression, and it helps boost my emotions in a positive direction because I'm really enjoying what I'm listening to. In the future, I'd like to do a top 10 video on what my favorite books are of all time, which is going to be hard because I love to read. I also would like to maybe do a top 10 movies and TV shows list, so watch for that in the future. Number 2, I give myself an adult timeout. Now, if you're a kid watching, then you can just give yourself a regular timeout, but adults need timeouts too. When the pain gets too bad, or I'm going through a really bad flare, or I'm just really, really depressed, I can tend to get really edgy and sometimes treat my family badly. So what I do is I take that opportunity to give myself a timeout. I need one and they need one. So I go down into my room, I turn on my heating pad, and I lay there and I breathe. I breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. And I do that over and over and over again. And I create a rhythmic type breathing. And it really helps to relax me and focus my mind on something other than the pain or the frustration that I may be feeling in that moment. And as I'm breathing, I'm thinking about relaxing each muscle group. So I'm laying there on my heating pad, flat on my back, thinking about relaxing my toes, and then I breathe. Then I'm relaxing my ankles, and then I breathe. Then I'm relaxing my calves, and then I breathe. And I do that up to my whole body, even just my scalp. And just thinking about those muscles relaxing helps me to be in the moment, to be centered, and to feel better. Sometimes I listen to nature sounds in the background, my Roku that I have on my TV has an app, and I sometimes listen to it at night when Jen's gone, just so I feel like somebody's there. But also when I'm giving myself a timeout, it's sort of like a timeout / meditation, but I'm not sure if it's full meditation. Number Three. I organize something. Clutter bothers me. It bothers me so bad. It is like a visual representation of my failure inside my house. And it makes me feel like crap. It makes me feel like a bad mom. It makes me feel like a bad wife. It makes me feel like a bad housekeeper. Just like the bad keeps piling up. So when I'm in pain, it's probably not best to do this one in a flare, because I feel like in a flare, you probably shouldn't make it worse. But if you're just in regular pain, or even better, if you're feeling depressed, the best way for me to, or one of the best, is to organize a space. We have a lot of people in our house, especially over the last 8 years. Between my wife and I, we have 7 children. 2 have moved out, 2 live with their dad, and 3 live in our house, plus 2 adults, plus 2 dogs. So clutter and mess are sort of inevitable, especially when all of those people have different types of personalities and they care at different levels about what the house looks like. As many of you spoonies know, when you are sick and you have a chronic illness, keeping a clean house is super difficult. As our diseases progress and get worse, our diseases aren't necessarily progressive, but sometimes our symptoms within those diseases will get worse, is what I'm saying. It makes it more difficult to keep our house up, to do the things that we used to do. And I feel like that kind of clutter is a visual representation of what we're not doing. So that means that the deep cleaning that probably needs to get done isn't getting done, or isn't getting done enough. It's true in my house, no shame. So what I do when I'm feeling depressed or in pain is I organize one space. I find a space that is equal to what I'm feeling. So if I'm in a lot of pain, like an 8, I will do a smaller project. But if I'm in like a 6, maybe a 7, I could do like a medium project. My point is find a space that you can complete. You don't want to start something that you are going to have to finish a different day, because then that's just a reminder of another failure. You want a success here. So do something you know you can complete. It's not so overwhelming when you do it that way. Plus, when you can complete a small task and you feel good about it, it's like taking your power back from a disease that's taken all the control you had away from you. It also makes you feel good. Takes your mind off the pain, you take some of your power back, and you feel good in the end because you accomplished something. Number 4, talk to someone. This one can seem a bit obvious, but I'm not talking about a therapist, which is great. I've been in therapy most of my life. If you need to talk to a therapist, talk to a therapist. That's great. But you only get to see them for a short amount of time. You should have some people in your life that you know you can confide in and count on. It's super important. Sometimes it's not your spouse. They're already put out sort of by what you're going through and all the doctor's appointments and all of the stuff that you've been going through. I would recommend you find someone other than your spouse. So the spouses are great. We as, spoonies, as people who are suffering from chronic autoimmune disorders, I know I tend to feel like a burden on my family. And I know that some of you do too. I've seen it in the forums that we've been a part of, that this is a common occurrence, that we feel like burdens on our families. Therefore, we don't like to really talk about what's going on, how we're feeling, what we're going through, and that can feel very lonely. Also, we don't really want to wear out the kindness of others. People will eventually get tired of hearing us complain. Well, at least that's our fear anyways. I don't think that the good ones, the ones who really care about us, they don't feel that way. Those are the people that we need to be talking to. Sometimes you have multiple people that you can talk to. I have lots of friends at the moment that told you dogs bark different things. I have some friends that I will talk to you about really specific life personal things. And I have other friends that I just talk about surface things about. And that's okay. It is okay as long as you are having a dialogue with somebody, because we need to get the feelings that are trapped inside of us out. It's important to help us process, and it's important to help us cope. When I am in a flare or depressed or in pain, which is the focus of this video, when I am in that position, I tend to complain a lot. I want to talk about how bad my muscles hurt, how bad my bones hurt, how sad my heart is, how lonely I feel, how unvalidated I am. But really, I'm just miserable because of our diseases. I want someone to say to me, it's going to be okay. I'm here for you. And that's why it's important to have those people to reach out to that you know are going to say that. It helps us feel validated and seen and makes me feel like I matter. Once I get these feelings out, I feel heard and I can let them go and move on. It helps take away from the physical pain that I'm feeling, because now my emotional pain isn't part of my baggage. Number 5, I listen to music. Now, I don't do this a lot. I put it at 5 because other people listen to music. I'm an odd person. I listen to audiobooks pretty much anytime that I can. Mostly, hopefully no offense here, I think a lot of music is just garbage. I just don't like it. It doesn't vibe with me. But if I am going to listen to music, I am listening to typically 90s, pretty much 90s anything, or contemporary Christian. And I know that's a funny dynamic there, but that's what it is. Why do I do this? Well, it's pretty simple. I believe in God. And listening to music that I praise to in church on Sunday during my week at home makes me feel closer to Him. And it brings the Holy Spirit into my house. And I feel like that is important for me. It also reminds me that I have a core belief system, and it helps me to focus my mind on something bigger than myself or my suffering. And it reminds me that there is a purpose to my pain. Now, I understand not everybody believes in God, so don't listen to Christian music. Listen to whatever kind of music brings peace to your soul and can help you relax, because that is the whole purpose of listening to music at this step anyway. It's to help you cope, and however you need to listen to music is your choice. Whatever you need to listen to is up to you. It just needs to help you relax and take your mind off whatever you're feeling at that moment. Number 6, I do my makeup. Okay, y'all, I know this one sounds silly. And like I said, this is my top 10 list, not yours. If you have something to add, do it in the comments. I would love to see what you like to do instead of your makeup. But for me, it brings me joy. Now, I don't do my makeup every day. You know, some days I don't do anything and I just go barefaced. Some days I just throw on a little liner and mascara and I go. Other days I do full glam, like today. When I'm sad or I'm in a flare, I feel like crap. And sometimes I look like crap for days, sometimes weeks. You know, it's hard to move. It's hard to breathe sometimes. It's hard to get out of bed and function in life. And sometimes I just bum around in sleeper pants and a pony and sort of suffer. Now, there's nothing wrong with pony and sleeper pants days, but at some point, I personally have to re-enter the real world. So when I have let my self-care go, happens, I do my makeup. I have my kids help me carry everything out of the bathroom because, you know, I need a mirror and I need my makeup and I need my brushes, and it's a process. So they help me carry it out, and I sit at the table and I turn on my audiobook and I listen to my audiobook and I take my time doing my makeup. Yeah, it might take me an hour and a half, but you know what? It was an hour and a half that I wasn't miserable, hour and a half that I wasn't complaining, an hour and a half where I was trying to reintroduce myself to my normal role in my family. Now, this might sound vain, but I like the way I look with makeup on. I like the way I look when I sit and I do my makeup for a really long time. So it does help to improve my mood when I've been depressed or sad or in pain or in a flare or lonely or the list could go on and on and on. So a little bit of makeup for me goes a long way. Looking pretty and feeling pretty help to take my mind off my physical pain. Then my wife tells me I look pretty and I feel even better. It's just a little bit of boost of self-confidence and self-esteem to let me know that I'm going to be okay, which also makes me feel good. Number 7, I watch TV or a movie. Okay, so here's the scoop. I love to watch TV and movies. It's one of my favorite things to do. But I tend to watch old favorites over and over and over again. Now, don't get me wrong. I love new movies. Some of the new stuff that's coming out is amazing. But I have to think about what's going to happen. I watch the movie and it's like, who did it? Who's she going to end up with? What's happening? Who's going to die? It's too much for me. So when I'm in a flare and I'm in pain and I'm just trying to relax, I go to an old movie. It's like an old comfy sweatshirt. You just put it on and you don't care if it's in fashion anymore, but you want to wear it. That's how I like my movies and TV. So I would encourage you guys as a coping skill to stop trying to search the internet or search your, cable menu for something you've never seen before, and just dive into something old and comfy that so that your mind can relax and sort of fuzz out and take your mind off of your physical pain while your other part of your mind goes down, goes to Hogwarts. P.S. My favorite movies and books. Number 8, alternative pain management. Now, I'm not a doctor and I am absolutely not telling you guys to not take your pain meds. I take pain meds. I just take them as a very last resort. This is a personal choice. If this does not work for you, don't do it. So no shame either way. This is just what works for me. So first, I always go to my tried and true heating pad. When my muscles hurt, it doesn't matter where they are. Typically, my worst muscular pain is in my abdomen, my back muscles, my shoulders, that kind of thing. I use my heating pad for that. A lot of the times, I will use my heating pad while listening to an audiobook or watching, old TV and movies. So usually the heating pad and the distraction of, the audiobook and TV helps, but sometimes it doesn't. So if it doesn't, then I just add ice packs. And I know you're like, heat and ice, but actually the mixture of the two temperatures really helps to numb your mind from the pain, which is the whole point. And obviously you can't put heat and ice on everything. So I use that for like the main joints or the main spots, like my back, my neck, my shoulders. For the other stuff, I tend to use icy hot or biofreeze. So on a bad day, you could come to my house and see me with a heating pad, watching Star Trek The Next Generation or Harry Potter with ice packs, smelling of icy hot, and drinking turmeric tea. Totally normal. Now, most of the time, this will work for a bad day. But if you have a terrible day, I will do all of those things that I just said, except for I will do them in my room and I will add pain medication to them. But the idea of trying alternative pain management for me was to, 1, take back some of the control of my life. And I've said that a couple times and I might sound like a control freak, and my wife would probably tell you that I am, but this disease or diseases takes so much from us that if we can manage in our own personal way, we should. And 2, when I'm using heat and ice packs, it forces me to slow down and deal with myself before it becomes a terrible day. And 3, this helps because when I'm using the ice and heat and watching a movie, it helps take my mind off of it and it helps me to cope. Number 9, take a break. So let's say you don't need a full timeout. You just need a little bit of a break, a little timeout. Well, for me, that looks like dragging a chair from my dining room table into the bathroom, into the kitchen, so I can cook. You know, I cook, I stir, I sit. I stir, I flip, I sit. That's taking a break. You know, I take everything out of my bill box and I bring it to the dining room table and I sort everything out that needs to be paid there so I can sit down. That's taking a break. I have a rolling chair downstairs that I roll around so I can sit down and fold laundry. That's taking a break. You see where I'm going with this, right? Doing little things throughout the day when you are just starting to feel those first little nagging pains, they really add up. And it helps. My hope here is to, 1, stop myself from pushing too hard, because we all know we all push too hard. You know, when we feel a flare is coming on, my desire, and I'm assuming yours, is to get as much done as we can in that day, because we know the next day we're not going to be able to do as much. So we want to get it all accomplished now. But sometimes that can actually make things worse for us. So instead of pushing super hard, do what you can to take little breaks. And 2, if you take it easy in the beginning, when you feel those little nagging pains, maybe the pain won't be as bad the next day. Number 10, watch YouTube. Now, I think YouTube falls into a different category than movies and TV, mostly because most YouTube people, including myself, put out videos that are like 20 minutes or less, where TV shows are 30 minutes to an hour and movies are, an hour and a half or more. So I think YouTube gets its special number. This may seem like a shameless plug, but it is not. I would recommend watching YouTube with alternative pain management options that I listed earlier. I did this a lot when I was really sick 6 months ago, and I couldn't do a lot. I couldn't get around as well as I was used to, and it made me very sad and depressed. While I was searching YouTube, I actually came across a YouTuber that has the same diseases that I do, or most of them, is married to a woman like I am, and uses assistive devices like I do. I connected with her so much. She's a big reason why I started this YouTube channel. The way her YouTube channel made me feel while I was going through something super crappy is the exact reason that I wanted to start a YouTube channel myself. I want to be able to do that for somebody else. So grab a comfy spot, grab your heating pad, and go down the rabbit hole, as they say, of YouTube. It will help you take the focus off of your pain and your misery and put it into something that you fully enjoy. Research a new hobby, listen to new music, find an audiobook. They're on YouTube, free. Do something, find something that just resonates with who you are as a person and enjoy. I hope that helps you the way it helped me. Before I end, I'm going to take a sip of my tea in my Star Wars mug. This is Wild Berry Zinger, and it is so good. This is the first time I've had to take a sip through the whole video, so I hope that means this is going to be a reasonably length video. Real quick for the question of the day, I think you know what I'm going to say. How do you cope during pain, flares, or depression? I would really love to hear for personal reasons. Maybe you know something that I don't. All right, you guys, I will see you next time. Have a great day.